The story of Alexander the Great is the story not only of a leader, but also of a genius, a warrior, and a visionary. The world we will discover with him, starting from his youth, is not only an empire that transcends geographical borders, but also a world of thought beyond borders. Alexander was born in Greece, which was considered the center of the world at the time, in the Kingdom of Macedonia. His education began with Aristotle, a teacher carefully selected to teach him all the wisdom needed to become a ruler. During this period, Alexander was introduced to classical Greek literature, philosophy, and science. This valuable knowledge formed the basis for his decisions at every stage of his life. But Alexander's education continued not only in books, but also in the real world. Under the tutelage of his grandfather Philippus II, the young Alexander embarked on a daring journey to explore the geography of the world. He pushed the frontiers to see the riches of the Persian Empire, the mysteries of Egypt, and the exotic world of India. These journeys not only gave him military strategy and political vision, but also helped him develop the skills to work and deal with different cultures. The story of Alexander the Great is not limited to his own time, but is the beginning of a process that changed the course of history. The territories Alexander conquered led to the birth of the Hellenistic era and the spread of Greek culture to different corners of the world. Alexander's influence was felt for centuries in the lands he ruled. After a youthful education, Alexander ascended to the throne of Macedonia and quickly became a ruler. Driven by the goal of empire building, Alexander led his army on great campaigns and fought some of the most famous battles in history. Alexander began to show his military and strategic skills at a young age and decided to organize a major campaign against the Persian Empire. Alexander's struggle against the Persians began in 334 BC. He first started to conquer the Persian satrapies in Asia Minor. At this time, the Persians had a vast empire across the world and a powerful army. But Alexander was known as a disciplined and skilled commander, and he and his army advanced bravely. One of Alexander's most famous victories against the Persians was the Battle of Granicus. In this battle, Alexander triumphed over the Persian commander Memnon and broke Persian resistance in Asia Minor. Alexander then captured Sardis, the Persian capital, and continued his rapid conquest of Anatolia. Alexander then pursued King Darius III of Persia to Persepolis, the capital of the Persian Empire. At the Battle of Gaugamela in 331 BC, Alexander defeated Darius once again and took control of the Persian Empire. Alexander fought a series of battles to break the remaining resistance of the Persians, and eventually completely destroyed the Persian Empire. During Alexander's struggle with Persia, he not only achieved military victories, but also adopted Persian culture and civilization. Alexander adopted Persian systems of governance and administration and included Persian soldiers in his army. This led Alexander to unite the empires to form a vast Hellenistic empire. Alexander the Great's battles against the Persians have been a turning point in history, inspiring admiration for his military genius and leadership skills. Alexander's victories against the Persian Empire are still studied today as an example of military strategy and tactics. During the conquest of the Persian Empire, he also organized an expedition to Egypt. However, Alexander's arrival in Egypt was perceived as a salvation for them. In 332 BC, Alexander entered Egypt and quickly won the love of the people. The Egyptian people had suffered from Persian rule for years, and Alexander's arrival was a hope of freedom for them. Alexander moved quickly to liberate Egypt from the Persians. Alexander traveled along the Nile River and reached Memphis. At this time, Egypt was ruled as a satrapy under Persian rule. Alexander ended Persian rule and declared himself the new ruler of Egypt. the Egyptian people recognized Alexander as the son of Ammon and treated him with great respect. Alexander organized the administration of Egypt and founded a new city during this period, which he named Alexandria. Alexandria developed rapidly as a center of trade and culture and became an important port and intellectual center throughout history. In Egypt, Alexander respected and protected the traditions and religious beliefs of the people. For the rule of Egypt, Alexander claimed to be the son of Ammon, the traditional god of Egypt, and adopted the religious beliefs of the local people. This increased the Egyptian people's loyalty to Alexander and provided support for his rule. Alexander the Great's struggles with Egypt are one of the most important achievements of his reign. The liberation of Egypt from Persian oppression and Alexander's winning the love of the Egyptian people is a testament to his leadership abilities and diplomatic skills. Alexander's influence in Egypt and the founding of Alexandria was a historically significant turning point and has a great cultural and historical heritage even today. Alexander the Great's struggles with Egypt demonstrated his leadership and diplomatic skills as well as his ability to win the love of the people. These successes also motivated his expedition to India. Alexander turned to India as a leader strengthened by his victories in Egypt and the love of the Egyptian people. At the time, India was a region famous for its wealth, resources, and complex political structure. Alexander wanted to conquer these lands and expand his empire. However, the struggles in India were not as easy for Alexander as he expected. India had powerful kingdoms and resistance groups. Alexander fought tough battles against local powers such as the Kingdom of Puru. The Battle of the Indus was one of the major conflicts between Alexander and Porus, and Alexander was able to triumph through his strategic mastery. However, Alexander the Great's Indian campaigns also faced difficulties and weaknesses. His army had fought for a long time and was exhausted. In addition, local resistance and geographical obstacles made it difficult for Alexander to advance. Finally, Alexander the Great decided to withdraw from India. After crossing the Indus River, he decided to turn back and traveled backwards with his army. Although the Indian campaign was not entirely successful in terms of Alexander's goal of expanding his empire, these struggles tested his leadership skills and limits. Alexander the Great's Indian campaigns are an important turning point in military strategies, diplomatic endeavors, and historical interactions. The Indian campaigns did not fully unify Alexander's empire, but they had a lasting impact on the region. These campaigns left a lasting mark on India's history and cultural heritage and highlighted Alexander the Great's leadership abilities. Alexander the Great's campaigns and adventures were not just about battle tactics and military victories. They also laid the foundation for an intellectual revolution, bringing together different cultures, knowledge, and philosophy. For this reason, Alexander's adventures symbolize the beginning of a process that changed the course of history, not just on the battlefields. Despite Alexander the Great's short life, his lasting legacy and influence are still remembered today. Alexander went down in history for his military genius, vision, and cultural unifying approach. He founded many cities in the lands he conquered, spreading Greek civilization and contributing to the birth of the Hellenistic era. He also made a great impact in the field of knowledge and philosophy and tried to transfer the knowledge he acquired as a student of Aristotle to his societies. However, with Alexander's death, his empire fell apart and conflicts arose between his successors. Alexander's grand dreams and the unity of his empire fell apart in the hands of the leaders who followed him. This shows that his gifts of leadership and vision were unparalleled and that it is therefore difficult for a leader like him to emerge again. The story of Alexander the Great is a fascinating tale of the power of courage, determination, and vision. Alexander should be remembered not only for his military victories, but also for his efforts to bring different cultures together and spread knowledge. His life was an inspiration for leadership and the will to explore the world. Today, by keeping the memory of Alexander the Great alive, we can learn from his story and move forward to build a future filled with courage and vision. He was not only a warrior, but also a thought leader and a builder of bridges between cultures.